Welcome to Rock Stars of Remodeling, a podcast presented by Pro Remodeler Media, where the best and brightest stars in home improvement share actionable insights with like-minded industry standouts like you. I'm your host, Drew Barto. I spent 13 years as the Director of Marketing for a replacement window and door company in Pittsburgh, where I learned a lot from some of the great minds in the home improvement industry. I aim to bring many of those voices to you on this show to help you gain more leads, close more sales, and boost your bottom line. Let's rock. This episode of Rock Stars of Remodeling is being brought to you by Marlamar. Marlamar is the home improvement industry's most experienced and comprehensive provider of text messaging services, which elicit faster responses from consumers to increase sales, impact productivity, and improve consumer experience. For more information, visit marlamar.com. That's MARLIMAR.com. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm honored to have a home improvement legend on the show today. Charlie Gindele has over 50 years of industry experience, including running the wildly successful Renewal by Andersen of Orange County in California. After selling his business back in 2021, Charlie is what I would consider retired, but not really. He continues to share his invaluable insight with contractors through trainings, speaking engagements, and his book, Lessons Learned, My Journey from Contractor to Businessman. That's right, Charlie's an author too. In his book, he shares 10 secrets or lessons he's learned that will help contractors grow their businesses and improve their lives. Today, Charlie and I will give you a taste of what it takes by discussing 3 of those lessons. Charlie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Drew. It's great to be here with you and look forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, so you got out, but you're not out, right? So despite selling your business, RBA of Orange County back in 2021, you're still busy in the home improvement industry. What have you been up to?
Well, Drew, I like to tell people that I'm in the home improvement remodeling witness protection program. Now, when the word got around in the fall of 2021 that I was going to be hanging them up, so to speak, some people in the industry that I know started reaching out to me and saying, hey, we'd like to, tap into your experience, and could you help us with the sales process? Could you do some teaching? Could you do some training? Could you do some coaching? So I didn't have a grandiose plan for when I retired, but it's kind of morphed into doing some coaching and training and helping people with some sales and challenges, and I guess the big thing when you own one of these businesses, whether you're a sole owner or you have a partner or two or whatever, it's kind of can be a lonely existence as an owner. You can't always go to your rank and file team members and share every thought you have or every situation or challenge you have. So, and I find that, a lot of people just need a little bit of a nudge or a little bit of encouragement to know that you're doing the right thing or avoid doing the wrong thing. So, that's kind of what I try to do. I try to help people with the years of experience that I had, and if I can help them through the thought process, make better decisions, or just give them the confidence to make a decision they were already going to make, but now they make it with just a little more certitude.
Yeah, and I was reading your book, actually both your books. You have Build It to Last as well, which is more of a memoir. And it's impressive that over the years, the 38 years of owning home improvement businesses, you did over $425 million worth of business. So I think when you talk, people listen, and as they should on the topics. And I kind of want to start with marketing because, as you know, we've met through Energy Swing Windows. You're good friends with Steve Rennekamp.
Yes.
And so I've known you for about 13 or 14 years now, and my background's in marketing. I was a director of marketing there. So let's start there. One of the lessons in your book refers to marketing as the most essential part of a business. I agree, of course, but why do you feel this way? And what are contractors doing wrong in marketing, and how can they improve?
One of the things and I think COVID had a lot to accelerate this, but one of the things I've seen is I think a lot of companies have become lazy marketers. I mean, a lot of people are doing some type of pay-per-click type of, Google AdWords search type thing. And then people are doing, some marketing on Facebook and Instagram, and, there's lead aggregators you can buy leads from. And there's actually companies out there that will help you do this too. So you can write a check every month or give somebody your credit card and give them a budget and let them hit your credit card. And it's kind of like done for me marketing, right? But to me, it's very passive. I call it low hanging fruit because it's easy to do. It doesn't take 100% full time activity. And like I said, you can write somebody a check or give them a credit card and they do it for you. And I've seen a lot of companies that have morphed into just doing that. And I think in the post COVID boom, there were a lot of people that were, you know, just their phones were ringing off the wall. They're getting all the leads they could handle. But now that's changing and the COVID boom is over. We got inflation, talking about recessions. And, I have a client that I'm working with, and, they were looking at their marketing in 2020, 2021, and they were doing some TV and newsprint and direct mail, and then they were doing internet. Well, they felt like their direct mail and TV they weren't getting a good return on it, but they were getting a pretty decent return on their internet type, you know, marketing. So they decided to cut out the direct mail and the TV and that other type of more traditional type of marketing and just focus it all on the internet. And they figured it was going to save them about 5 or 6%, and that 5 or 6% would drop to the bottom line. And so they did that beginning of 2022. By last summer, they were realizing that their lead flow was way down, and they weren't getting the leads, and the internet alone wasn't delivering what they needed. But they were sure that these other tried and true types of marketing weren't working any longer, so they had abandoned that. So, and I know that it still works from my experience. So I said to them, let me see some of the stuff you're doing. So they sent me a couple of their TV spots, and they sent me copies of some of their printed direct mail. And I got to tell you, it was terrible. The messages were conflicting. It wasn't really clear what they were selling, they had no calls to action. They had no sense of urgency being created. It was kind of like all brand building, and we're not Nike or Coca-Cola or Budweiser. We're some little mom and pop home improvement or remodeling company. We want to build our brand, but but that's secondary to generating leads. The reason we market is to make the phone ring and get appointments. So we revamped some of this stuff, and they fired it back up, and all of a sudden the phone started ringing. So one lesson is you got to spend the marketing dollars, but the other thing is you got to spend them wisely, and you got to do it well. Just the fact you spend the money is not the answer to the problem. You got to spend it, and then you got to do it well with good messages and hitting the right target market with the right media. So it's a multifaceted thing, but that's the biggest thing I'm seeing is people have abandoned a lot of the tried and true traditional marketing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, as you mentioned, just kind of got fat, dumb, and happy over with COVID, with the boom we had, and leads were just flowing in, and you could cut certain things and trim here and there, and not do the proactive stuff and get away with it. You were still flooded. And so I wanted to ask you though. You mentioned marketing budget for a home improvement company. On a percentage basis, what do you I know it's different for everybody. Not everybody's the same, and depending on your size and stuff. What do you think is a fair range for a percentage of revenue that you should apply to your marketing budget?
Yeah, that's a great question. And from my experience, I think that the minimum company should be spending is about 8%. And I say that because a lot of companies that I've seen and talked to and work with, they're spending 3.5%, 4%, and they're thinking that's good. They're amazed at how low. They're thinking that's a good thing. My marketing expense is low. And if you're spending 8%, that's double 4%, right? So if I can do it for 4%, that's better than spending 8%. But the reality of it is, those companies who are doing that generally do not have consistent lead flow, and they are not growing. Yeah. I don't believe in a home improvement arena you can spend 3 or 4% of your revenue and have a growing business. You might be able to sustain an existing business, barely, but you can't grow it. So, and to me, companies that are really growing are spending 10, 11, 12%. Some are spending as much as 14 or 15%. I think if you're spending, less than 8%, you should reconsider spending at least 8% of your revenue, annual revenue, on marketing, and budget that and build it into your selling price. And then look for areas that, wisely you can spend that money, and also try to have somewhat of a diversified marketing portfolio. Don't put, all your eggs in one or two baskets. You spread it around and do a combination of, obviously, the internet related stuff and social media, but do some direct mail, do some events, do some shows, do some marketing to past customers. Do some marketing to customers that, maybe you gave a price to and they didn't buy. Just because they didn't buy today doesn't mean they won't buy tomorrow or next month or next year. So don't exclude those customers. Stay in contact with them, nurture those customers.
No, that makes a lot of sense, Charlie. I think you have to, depending, no matter what you do, I think you're talking about testing certain things, and you can fine tune it, right? If something's working well for you, you do more of it. Something's not working at all for you, you cut it out or you do less of it. You figure it out. I think you have to constantly be, looking at your data, looking at the results, and seeing what you're getting.
So, and that's the difference between, I think, companies that have made marketing the most essential part of the business and those that haven't. If when it becomes the most essential part of your business, you are looking at it on a regular, consistent basis. You are tweaking, you are analyzing, you're tracking what's doing, and you're making adjustments as you go. And the thing that I hear that bothers me when I hear it from people is, well, we tried that and it didn't work. Typically what happens is, number one, maybe the creative is not good, the message is not good, there's no offers or calls to action, there's nothing to create a sense of urgency. But over and above that, they do a direct mail campaign once, and then they didn't get the response they thought they would need, and in some cases they probably did, but they're not geared to really track it, so they're just guessing. They don't really know. And to me, one of the things you learn after many years in business, I think, is that inconsistent, haphazard efforts tend to yield inconsistent, haphazard results.
Yeah.
And doing things consistently, tend to going to generate a more consistent result. And direct mail. I mean, if you do a direct mail campaign, you don't hit these people once and then say, "All right, I've done it. Now I'll move on to something else." You got to hit them over and over and over again. And if you think about marketing you see on television, I mean, you see these ads for certain products or companies over and over again, and not everybody picks up the phone to write the first time, and not everybody is at that point in the buying cycle where they have a need for whatever it is being marketed. But eventually you build your brand, and hopefully you can, in our business, you create some offers to make people get up off the couch and pick up the phone or go to the computer and submit a form and book an appointment. And marketing is not designed to sell jobs. Marketing is designed to sell appointments. Sales job is to sell the jobs, but marketing's job is to sell the appointments.
I love that. I love that. Marketing's job is to sell the appointments. I think I heard that before, and probably from you, because we've had the connection at CCN and with Steve. But we could talk marketing all day, you and I, for sure. But I do want to turn to a couple other topics that I've read in your book, and I think they're really relevant today. One of those is hiring the right people and getting rid of the wrong ones. And I think that's even more critical today, with the labor market the way it is. You wrote that a company's culture equals the positive behaviors you encourage minus the negative behaviors you tolerate. Can you talk about what you mean by this and how it relates to employee retention and recruitment in today's environment?
Yeah, well, I mean, every company has a culture, whether you're conscious of it or you know it, or as an owner, you think you've built a culture, whatever you have. I mean, even if you did nothing, you build a culture, but in a growing environment, we want to build a positive culture, a culture where people are engaged, people, you have a passion for what they do, and people are all signed in and on board with the big picture of what the company's trying to accomplish. So many times we let people linger. We let people that are not performing in whatever role it is, we let them linger. And there's certain behaviors that we should be encouraging, and we should have that performance based mentality, and the people in our company should know that we're performance based, and everybody's contributions either add to or subtract from the sum total of the collective effort. So we want to encourage positive behaviors and performance, but we also, if we tolerate or accept, poor performance or poor attitudes or negativity or no teamwork, or that becomes part of our culture too. I recently was talking to a company, an owner of a company. He had like 3 or 4 key employees leave his business in like 2-week period.
Wow.
And he's like kind of devastated by it. And I thought, well, to myself, I said, something's got to be wrong there. So when I started talking to him and dug into it, he had, he's gotten to the point where he thinks he's not working in the business, he's working on the business, right? Which we, as owners, we need to do. But he actually got detached from the day-to-day of the business. His rank and file people hardly ever saw him around. He didn't engage with them anymore. He used to know everybody by their name. Now he doesn't know people, and he's not going out to job sites. He's not there in the morning. Doesn't have a monthly company meeting. And so, the culture has changed in his business because in his mind, I think he's gotten a little bit aloof.
Wow, it's amazing the impact certain behaviors have on company culture. Now, we could do a whole episode on company culture, but before I leave the program today, I'd love to touch upon a very important facet of your success, Charlie, and that's sales. I think you wrote that, it's imperative for contractors to have teachable, trainable, repeatable, and perfectible sales systems. So, above all else, is that the key to long-term success in this industry? Like, and what was your sales process like, and why did it work so well for you?
As we evolved, we eventually went to a one-call sales process about a dozen years ago. And a lot of people think that the one-call sales process, involves pressuring a customer into a decision. And actually, the process that we used and evolved, couldn't have been further from that. We do give the customer a financial incentive to buy today, but no one would buy today at any price if it wasn't the product they wanted, and we didn't have the specifications and workmanship they wanted, and if we weren't the company that they believed in could do the job the best. So our process really revolves around teaching and educating customers, showing them the product options that are available in the market, and evolving to the product that we sell, which ultimately we feel is the best, not the cheapest, but the best long-term product, getting them excited about that, getting them to commit to that product, then educating them about workmanship and specifications, and so they understand that part of the equation, and then explaining who our company is and what we offer, and why we're the best choice for them to partner up with. So only when you get commitments on those areas does the price even matter, right? So then if we have the product they want, we have the specifications and workmanship they want, and we're the company they want, then we can save time. If they're in a position to buy today, we give them an additional incentive. If they're not in a position to move forward today, we'll come back and see them a second or third time. That's not a problem. But those customers that are able to move forward when we meet with them for the first time actually save us time and money and allow us to meet with more customers. It's just it's a premise is time is money, and most people, when you explain it to them logically, they understand that. So we went from selling of the jobs we sold, about 40% of them were sold on the first call. We went to selling 97% of the jobs we sell on the first call with this new sales methodology. The other thing about having the sales methodology is it's one that we can teach and train. It's repeatable, and ultimately, when you focus all your attention, you can perfect it. So most people, they're just out there winging it. They don't really have a strategy. They don't have any game plan that they follow, and they sell jobs, but not always effectively and efficiently. So our process was designed to take people that know nothing about our business and our industry, teach them and train them about the products, about the industry, and then also, our sales methodology and how to price out jobs correctly. And And by doing that, we were able to grow our sales team.
So in those dozen years since you implemented that one-step sales process, revenue-wise, how much did you grow?
We grew from about 7 or 8 million to about 48 million.
Wow. 12 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive. Hey, if you're wondering how you can read all 10 of Charlie's lessons, go buy his book on Amazon. It's called Lessons Learned: My Journey from Contractor to Businessman. It's an incredible read packed full of actionable insights. And if you want to learn more from the legend in person, register for Pro Remodeler's main event, the Pinnacle Experience, coming to Philadelphia in September 2023. Charlie will be a featured speaker where he'll share 3 key observations and 3 opportunities he sees for home improvement companies in the areas of marketing and sales. Plus, he'll be previewing his Pro Remodeler Expert Series class on what it takes to accelerate the growth of your business. Charlie, thank you again for joining me, and I can't wait to see you soon. And let's do this again.
Look forward to it, Drew. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Rock Stars of Remodeling. As promised, there were some amazing takeaways that you can use to build a better business for yourself, your employees, and your customers. If you've got an idea for a future episode or a guest I should invite onto the show, I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow Rock Stars of Remodeling on Spotify or SoundCloud, and click the like button on this episode. Until next time, rock on.